The Papin sisters and the murders for which they were responsible have left a bloody mark in the annals of French criminology. It also caught the attention of significant number of French intellectuals who wrote different analyses of the case or adapted the unfortunate event for theatre and film. Keep watching to learn one of the grisliest murders in the history of France. Christine Papin, born on 8 March 1905, and Léa Papin, born on 15 September 1911, were two French sisters, live-in maids, who were convicted of murdering their employer's wife and daughter in Le Mans, France on 2 February 1933. The murder had a significant influence on French intellectuals Jean Genet, Jean-Paul Sartre, and Jacques Lacan, who sought to analyze it and considered it symbolic of class struggle. The case had formed the basis of a number of publications, plays, and films, as well as essays, spoken word, songs, and artwork. Born in Le Mans, France, to Clemence Dare and Gustave Papin, Christine and Léa came from a troubled family. While Clemence was dating Gustave, it was rumored that she was having an affair with her employer. However, when she became pregnant, Gustave married her in October 1901. 5 months later, Clemence gave birth to a daughter, Emilia. Suspecting that Clemence was still having an affair with her employer, Gustave found a new job in another city and announced the family would move. Clemence declared she would rather commit suicide than leave the Le Mans. The marriage deteriorated. Gustave began to drink heavily. When Emilia was 9 or 10 years old, Clemence sent her to a born-pastured Catholic orphanage, where it was discovered that Gustave had raped her. Emilia later joined the convent and became a nun. Christine was born on March 8, 1905, and was given to her paternal aunt and uncle soon after her birth. She lived happily with them for 7 years before entering the Catholic orphanage, where she would receive the calling to become a nun. Clemence forbade this, instead placing her in employment. Christine was described as a hard worker and a good cook who could be insubordinate at times. Léa was born on September 15, 1911, and given to her maternal uncle, with whom she remained until he died. After that, she too was sent to a Catholic orphanage until age 15, when she could be employed. Léa was described as a quiet and introvert, but obedient. She was considered less intelligent than Christine. The sisters worked as maids in various Le Mans homes. They preferred to work together wherever possible. In 1926, Christine and Léa found live-in positions as maids at 6 Rue Briony for the Lancelin family. M. René Lancelin, a retired solicitor, his wife Leonie, and their younger daughter, Genevieve, lived in the house. An elder daughter was married. Some years after Christine and Léa started working for the family, Madame Leonie developed depression and the girls became the target for her mental illness. The abuse worsened to the point that she would slam the girl's head against the wall. On the evening of Thursday, February 2, 1933, Monsieur Lancelin was supposed to meet Madame Leonie and Genevieve for dinner at the home of a family friend. Madame Leonie and Genevieve had been out shopping for the day. When they returned home that afternoon, no lights were on in the house. The Papin sisters explained to Madame Lancelin that the power outage had been caused by Christine plugging in a faulty iron. Madame Lancelin became irate and attacked the sisters on the first floor landing. Christine lunged at Genevieve and gouged her eyes out. Léa joined in the struggle and attacked Madame Lancelin, gouging her eyes out as ordered by Christine. Christine ran downstairs to the kitchen where she retrieved a knife and a hammer. She brought both weapons upstairs where the sisters continued their attack. At some point, one of the sisters grabbed a heavy pewter pitcher and used it to strike both Lancelin women on the head. Experts who later responded to the scene estimated that the attack lasted about 2 hours. Sometime later, Monsieur Lancelin returned home to find the house dark. He assumed that his wife and daughter had left for the dinner party and proceeded to the party himself. When he arrived at his friend's home, he found that his family was not there either. He returned to his residence with his son-in-law at approximately 6:30 to 7, where they discovered their entire house still dark except for a light in the Papin sisters' rooms. The front door was bolted shut from the inside, so they were unable to enter the house. The two men found this suspicious and went to a local police station to summon help from an officer. Together with the policeman, they responded to the Lancelin home, where the policeman made entry into the home by climbing over the garden wall. Once inside, he found the bodies of Madame Lancelin and her daughter Genevieve. They had both been bludgeoned and stabbed to a point of being unrecognizable. Madame Lancelin's eyes had been gouged out and were found in the folds of a scarf around her neck, and one of Genevieve's eyes were found under the body and another on the stairs nearby. Thinking that the Papin sisters had met the same fate, the policeman continued upstairs only to find the door of the Papin sisters' room locked. After the officer knocked but received no response, he summoned a locksmith to open the door. Inside the room, he found the Papin sisters naked in bed together, and a bloody hammer with hair still clinging to it was on a chair nearby. Upon questioning, the sisters immediately confessed the killing. The sisters were placed in prison and separated from each other. Kristen became extremely distressed because she could not see Léa. At one point, prison officials relented and allowed the two sisters to meet. Kristen reportedly threw herself at Léa, unbuttoning her blouse, begging her, "Please say yes," suggesting an incestuous sexual relationship. In July 1933, Kristen experienced a fit or episode in which she tried to gouge her own eyes out and had to be put in a straitjacket. She then made a statement to the investigating magistrate in which she said that on the day of murder she had experienced an episode like the one she just had in prison, and this was what precipitated the murders. The court appointed 3 doctors to administer psychological evaluations of the sisters to determine their mental state. They concluded that the sisters had no pathological mental disorders and deemed them to be sane. Although medical testimony given during the September 1933 trial noted a history of mental illness in the family. Their uncle had committed suicide while their cousin was living in an asylum. They also believed that Christine's affection for her sister was based on family ties, not an incestuous relationship as others had suggested. After the trial, jurors took 40 minutes to determine that the Papin sisters were indeed guilty of the heinous crime of which they had been accused. Léa, thought to be under the influence of her older sister, and was given a 10-year sentence. Kristen was initially sentenced to death at the guillotine, although the sentence was later commuted to life imprisonment. The separation from Léa proved to be too much for Kristen. Her condition deteriorated rapidly once they were apart. She experienced bouts of depression and madness, eventually refusing to eat. Prison officials transferred her to mental institution in Rennes, hoping that she would benefit from professional help. Still separated from Léa, she continued to starve herself until she died of cachexia, wasting away on May 18, 1937. Léa fared better than Kristen, serving only 8 years of her 10-year sentence. After she was released in 1941, she lived in the towns of Nantes, where she was joined by her mother. She assumed a false identity and earned a livelihood as a hotel maid. Some accounts state that Léa died in 1982, but French film producer Claude Ventura claims that to have discovered Léa living in a hospice center in France in 2000 while creating the film Enquête des Sœurs Papin, in search of the Papin sisters. The woman he claimed to be Léa had suffered a stroke which had rendered her partially paralyzed and unable to speak. This woman died in 2001. Although the sisters were deemed sane and fit to be stand trial, the psychological community struggled and debated over a diagnosis for the two. After much consideration, it was concluded that the sisters suffered from shared paranoid disorder, which is believed to have occurred when groups or pairs of people are isolated from the world, developing paranoia, and in which one partner dominates the other. This is especially true of Léa, whose meek personality was overshadowed by obstinate and dominant Christine. The case had a huge impact on the community and was debated intensely by the intelligentsia. Some people considered that the murders had been the result of exploitation of the workers. Considering that the maids worked 14 hard days with only a half day off each week. Intellectuals empathized with the sisters' oppressive struggle of the social classes.